Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. And I'm going to talk about, yes, guess what? Everybody's talking about it, Will Smith. But first, smash that like button and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and be sure to leave a comment in the comment section. So, I didn't even know anything about it until I was on Affy Kingdom's podcast last night, and they started talking about Will Smith hitting Chris, whatever his name is, the guy that was hosting the awards. So they showed the clip, or I've looked at the clip, and the big debate seems to be whether it was real or not. It's really hard to tell because actors are good at acting. So I don't know whether it was real or not. And then, of course, later on, he takes an award and he's crying up there and talking. I don't know Will Smith, of course. I know him as an actor. I've really enjoyed his movies. I don't know how he's been able to stomach the position he's been in with his wife, that deal with her affair, that red table talk. It's easy for us to sit back and badmouth him, but as they say, until you walk a mile in a man's shoes, you really shouldn't judge him. I've been somewhat similar situation that he's in, but of course not in the public eye. And what a lot of psychologists and counselors, and he's probably gone to some, will tell you in this situation is to just love your wife and help her to get through this. And she's cheated on you and she's betrayed the family. Okay, now of course resentment and anger is not going to help anything, but what happens in these situations is the more you try to love her through this or accept her and forgive her, the less respect she has for you. And I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is. Sometimes loving someone is not all sunshine, roses, and fuzzy feelings in your stomach. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is to walk away from them. And he didn't do that with her. And he hasn't done that. And what it appears like to me, if that was real last night, or whenever that happened the night before, after these repeated humiliations, which is something we have a difficult time taking as a man, we can't stomach this, these things start coming out in emotional outbursts, like what we saw on the thing where he hit that guy, slapped that guy. I would say he should have hit him instead of slapping him, regardless if it was real or not. A man hits, a man doesn't slap. Well, he may slap a woman. Okay, I'm not advocating violence against women. No, don't take it that way. But the point I'm making is men don't usually slap other men, they punch other men. But let's say it was real or even that it was staged. He's trying to prove a point that he's a man protecting his family and the honor of his family. Well, unfortunately, it's really too late for that. They say it's never too late for anything, but I believe it is too late for that because he's allowed things to go on so long without him checking his wife that he looks weak. Is he weak? I don't know. Maybe in respects to his wife, he is. I've been there. I've been weak in respects to my wife because when I was married, because I followed the agenda of society, of what a psychologist, a female psychologist will tell you to do when your wife is throwing fits and acting out, instead of what I knew inherently to do, which was to walk away or to stand up and say, hey, this is enough. This has to stop. I believe in loving your neighbor, and I believe in love, and love is a powerful force. But as I said, if you have kids, you know that sometimes love isn't giving them a hug and telling them how wonderful they are. Sometimes love is putting a paddle across their butt. And women are very much like children. I'm not saying you should paddle your wife with a paddle. That's not what I'm saying. But left to their own devices, they will sabotage the thing they dreamed of all their life. Now, I know that sounds belittling to women, and if you're a woman listening to this, I don't mean it that way, but that is your nature, okay? And I even feel funny saying it because of what society has tried to program into all of us. But it's true. Women left to their own devices will sabotage the very thing that they've dreamed about, that they've always wanted to have, once they get it. Okay, they just, the same as children. For some reason, well, children, until they get to be a certain age, at least boys, are very emotionally driven. And the same way with women. They are maintained an emotionally driven state of mind mostly through their whole lives. And they need the guidance of a strong, stable male, not an emotional male who's too much into his feminine. And what you saw on the clip with Will, he was very much into his emotional state. The time for him to act, at least from what I know, which isn't much, we can't really, it's hard telling what's really going on. We just see a surface evidence of what we think is going on, what people tell us, and what Will and his wife have spoken about. But there's always more underneath than what we can see. But it appears that he should have checked this a long time ago. King Dre talks about the levels of disrespect. And I would say Will's up around 9 or 10. That's where he's at, and it's causing him to take physical actions that could really cost him a lot in his position. Okay, so he should have checked this a long time ago, and he didn't do it. And as I said, I'm not judging him. I've made the same mistake because we're told that we need to compromise, to get along with our women, to allow them to make the decisions, to be partners, to be equal. Well, I'm telling you what, from my experience in marriage, that doesn't work. And from what I've seen with other men, that doesn't work. The woman does not want to lead, even though she may be trying to lead in the relationship because she's told by society that she is an equal partner. Now, I believe we're all equal in the eyes of God, divinity, nature, whatever you want to call that power that is greater than yourself, if you believe in such things. But obviously, men and women are not equally physically or emotionally, maybe not even spiritually. I don't know about that. We're different. Men are emotionally and physically stronger than women in general. Although in the U.S. we are lacking on masculinity in men. We have a lot of men being raised up to submit to the feminine. And it doesn't work. And I'm not saying the masculine has to submit to the feminine or the feminine has to submit to the masculine. But for thousands of years, the feminine has submitted to the masculine guidance and dominance of men. And that's worked pretty good so far, except for the wars and the killings. But hey, we're human, we're always going to have those. Obviously, people act on emotions, even men, such as Will. But I would say Will is too much into his feminine and submissive spirit, and that's why he's gotten to the point where he looks like he may want to explode. Now, let's say it was fake. Let's say it was all set up, which it very well could be. He still wants to portray that he's a man. If it was real, he's trying to act manly. If it wasn't real, he wants everyone to think he's acting manly, that he's the protector of his family and the provider. But he lost that aura of protection a long time ago when he allowed his wife to step out and what appears to me humiliate him in front of millions of people. I know many people, including myself, don't think of him as the actor he portrayed in I Am Legend and some of these other movies he played. Whether he ever was that man or not, I don't know. But what we're seeing now is a different side of him, a weak, submissive side. And we see how well that's working in his marriage. Not well at all. They're staying together. If your idea of a successful marriage is people who stay together until they die, then maybe you believe they're successful. I've been married more than once, the longest 12 years. I would say 6 to 8 of those years were successful. The others were not. Now, because I divorced, does that mean it's a failure? I think it would have been a failure had I stayed and ended up in a situation like Will was. I was getting there. Actually, maybe I was there a couple times before I finally walked away, but I could not accept the things that he has apparently accepted from his wife. But it looks like it's just eating him up inside, which is what it does to a man who has some masculinity in him, to a man who still wants to value himself, because it's just tough for men to accept things like that and hold their head up. And maybe, as I said, that's what he was trying to do last night, whether real or staged, was trying to get some respect back for himself or from his audience or from people or from the fans. But you have to be the judge of that yourself, whether it was real or not. But I do believe the motive is to gain some self-respect back and also respect from his fans. Well, that's all I have for that today. If you'd like to get my help personally, marksinspiration.com is my website. And if this was of value to you, share with a friend, and you can hit the PayPal donate button and donate. $1, $2, 10, 10,000. Anyway, whatever you feel the value is worth. I got to get to work. It's warming up outside. Great to be here with you. And my 1,362 subscribers, 2 more. Thank you for joining. And we got some good stuff coming in the future. Take care.